Laura, congratulations.
Thank you.
On being elected as president.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us first of all, how much does it mean to you to be elected as the new president for ARU Students' Union?
Oh, it is everything to me. Like, I've loved working as vice president this year, and I thought I was ready to step up, and I'm just so excited about it. Like, it's something that I find a real passion for, like student politics, student stuff. I've really stepped into it, and I've really learned to love it. And so I'm really excited to stay on for another year, and I'm really glad I got elected. Like, don't know what else to say about it.
Do you think it will be difficult going from vice president for just one faculty to president of the whole union almost overnight?
I can see that it will be difficult because it is. I mean, at the minute I'm so focused on science and tech students, and I don't even really know what's going on in the business school, or I'm like, I don't really understand like the law department, but that's fine. And now I'm like, actually, I need to understand all of this. But Jamie, the current president, is really, really good. She's putting a lot of handover time. She's doing loads and loads of documents for me to make sure that it's really easy for me, and I trust her to do a good job on that. So I think it might be okay. I think it's going to be okay.
Good. And what are you most excited about working on when you take up your new role?
Oh, there's so many things I'm excited about. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm really excited about the new team. I know them all a little bit. Mary and Matt and Amanda, I know them all individually as people, but I'm really excited to see how they work and how they grow, and hopefully teach them something. Like, I've learned a lot of things this year, and I really want to like show them like what I've learned, and hopefully make them have an easier time than some of us did. Like, and obviously every year the officers want to make it as easy as possible for next year's officers, so I'd love to do that. And I'm really excited to get started on some new campaigns and with new exec team, and it's gonna be really good. I am really, really excited. I don't know if you can tell.
I can. Just going back a bit, You've won 2 elections, which is extremely impressive, obviously. What advice would you give to students who also want to achieve this?
For me, the biggest thing is like to just be yourself, like, and have some confidence. Like, that sounds really like silly coming from me, because I don't have a huge amount of self-confidence all the time, and I really struggled with it, especially during the last election. But I think being yourself is the most important thing. Like, people have told me they voted for me because, oh, you're a bit of a nerd, you like that game, or, you know, you talk really openly about, you know, what you've gone through, or like your experiences in life, and that's kind of what I believe in. I think you should just be open, be yourself, and people will respond to it.
And then if you're right for the role, then you're right for the role.
Exactly. That's obviously, you know, if you can be yourself and be the wrong person, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. But I do think being yourself helps a lot.
And you are a graduate in optometry.
Yeah.
What made you want to rerun rather than pursue your degree field?
I sort of talked a little bit about it earlier, but I found a real passion for student politics and student life, and I love the potential of students. Like, I think it's a really beautiful thing that every student, whether they are an apprentice, whether they're in further education or higher education, or a foundation year, or a mature student, or a postgrad, whatever they're doing, they're all here to try and better themselves. And I think there's something really beautiful about that, and there's not a lot of other places that you can go. There's not a lot of workplaces you can go into and know that actually everybody's here for like a common good, like, cause. And I think that's really quite a beautiful thing. And I love the SU. I love it in Cambridge and Chelmsford. Like, I do love that bit of it. And I just want to see what more I can do for students and what more we as the team can do for students to make their lives better. I think that's a really nice thing.
And how will your experiences from this last year in your role shape who you are as the next president for ARU Students' Union?
I think it's already started to begin. So a big thing for me was when I started last year, it doesn't even seem like almost a year ago. It seems so far away. But a big thing for me last year was that I was really, really shy. And I would talk to people one-on-one, but I wasn't good at like public speaking or talking in a crowd, or if I was a little bit unsure about what I was saying, but I thought it was the right thing. I didn't always speak up in meetings when I should have, and I didn't always give my opinions the way I should have, even though actually I think my opinions are valid most of the time now. So I think I've learned over the year that I need to have more confidence, and I need to be more outspoken and actually have some faith in myself, and that's going to put me in good stead. So I've learned that over this year, and I think that'll put me in good stead for next year. But I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. It's not even the question.
Yeah, so in your opinion, what's the most difficult aspect of being an officer?
I think there's lots of different things though. One of the things that I've actually really struggled with was if a student had a really, really differing opinion to me. So I might believe in one thing and a student has a really, really conflicting opinion. and trying to keep a level head and explain, like, logically why you think the way you think. Not to tell them you're wrong, because 90% of the time their opinion has some merit, or they have a reason to think the way they think. And learning how to do that, like, and keep a level head and not just be like, oh, that's gross. Like, why do you think that way? Like, learning to do that is really, really hard. And especially because the second you say something wrong, people will hold you accountable for it. And be like, why did you speak to somebody that way? That's disgusting. Like, that's been difficult for me this year, but I think I've gotten better at it. I'm quite good at, like, removing myself from it and learning how to just be like, give them what I think are the facts and lay it on the table a little bit.
Student housing,
yes,
is one of your top priorities. Mm-hmm. This is something that many officer teams have tried to tackle. What are you going to do to finally make accommodation more affordable for students?
I think to start with, I really have to look at all the info that we've got. So I need to really compile all my data and find out how much money students are actually paying, because it does vary depending on where they stay. Is it halls? Is it private? Is it a 9-month contract? Is it a 12-month contract? Like, all the different things that can play into it. So I think to start with, info gathering. And there's been a lot of good practice in other places. There's a really great officer called Eva, and she is from Goldsmiths University in London. She did some rent strikes, and she saved her students £650,000.
What's a rent strike?
Oh, so a rent strike is, I don't know all the details, Adam. This is the problem. But you basically stop paying your rent for a while until they fix it and do accommodation. But they got over £500,000 refunded to their students, which I think is really impressive. And I'm not saying, hey, are you going to rent strike? Because I need to find out exactly what that entails and is it legal and all the other lovely stuff. But to summarise, I'm going to do all my data collection. I'm going to look into best practice from other universities and possibly work with NUS. There should be some good practice guidelines and stuff coming out from them. And I think we need to work with the accommodation team. I've actually got some quite good links with accommodation already. They've expressed interest in what I'm doing, and I think there's some work to be done about what students think they're getting versus what they're actually getting and what's expected. And I think, I don't want to say expectation management because that sounds really like Ponzi and university-esque, but it's kind of, do students know what they're getting before they arrive? Are they disappointed? Do they think they're paying too much because they're disappointed in what they're getting? Or is it because Cambridge is really expensive? And I think there's a little bit of both, potentially.
Officer accountability is the hot topic at the moment. Mm-hmm. How are you going to make sure your team is truly accountable to students?
So there are mechanisms in place at the minute. We have our exec committee, but I think something I've noticed this year is that they often don't know how to sort of really ask us the questions that need to be asked. So I'm looking at whenever exec get trained. So exec, I should clarify, exec is like our LGBT reps, our trans reps, and our faculty reps. So liberation reps and faculty reps. And they go on training, and I would really love to sit down with them and really have a think with them, like, what are the questions you need to be asking? Like, how much money is that costing us per student? Like, that's not something that ever really come up at meetings, but actually is a really important question, because we can't just be spending money all over the place. We don't have a lot of it. So I think part of it will be from exec to make sure they really know that they can hold us accountable, so that the students who they represent can go, actually, yeah, the officer team is being held to account by my elected representative. But then also, I mean, we're talking about reworking student council. We've already had a chat with some of our staff members today about what we're going to do for next time, and we're rewriting our articles and bylaws and all the other fun stuff that binds the union to certain practices. So we're going to try and see what we can do to make things a lot easier for students to get involved, and that they're not scared of asking us difficult questions, because, like, yeah, we're people and we have feelings, but actually we're here to do a job, and students need to know we're doing it properly.
And finally, in true ARU Students' Union style, we finished the interview, and you're handed the cheque for £10 million addressed to the Students' Union. Mm-hmm. What would you spend it on?
I don't know what I'd spend it on, because I need to ask students what they want us to spend it on.
Okay.
Like, I've got ideas, but my ideas might be completely out of kilter with what the actual student population think, because I work at the SU and I'm going, we could get a member of staff to do this job, we could get a member of staff to do that, we can get a new person in here.
But give us a clue, what would your idea be initially?
I think one of the gut reactions I think every officer in this team is going to have is, we want to get a bar in Cambridge. Sorry, Chelmsford, that one's not for you. But you've just got one. But I think that's a gut reaction, but we'd have to find a space, and that would eat up a sizable chunk of that budget. And then beyond that, I know that like the activities team probably need an extra coordinator. Like they work so hard and they work themselves into the grind doing what they do. They could probably just use an extra person. And like the officers, like, I don't even know, give us more money to do campaigns. We've got some campaigns, but a lot, like by the end of the year, we're always like, we've got no money left. Like, what are we gonna do now? We need to start thinking a little bit more carefully about where we spend it. And it's not a bad thing. We should probably be thinking carefully about how we spend it all the time, but it would just be nice to give us a little bit more oomph into what we can do and make it bigger and broader and larger scale. There are so many other things, but I think those are kind of my gut reactions.
Good. Thank you very much. And
was that 10 questions?
That was 10 questions.
Felt like 4.
And good luck in the new role.
Thank you so much.